Electrocast.
There's a change happening in the way we live, the way we work, the way we spend our money and make our decisions. We are evolving to be more conscious in our actions in a way that serves the world and makes it a better place. Welcome to the Ethical Evolution. The Ethical Evolution podcast is brought to you by Ethical Change Agency. I'm Bindi, I'm the founder, and my mission is to help ethical entrepreneurs and holistic healers to find their voice through spiritual coaching and podcasting. I'm honoured to bring you the stories of those who create change through healing, kindness, innovation, purpose, and spirit. Understanding that to create collective change, we need to be the change. It all begins with us. Hey, before we get into this episode, I just wanted to let you know that you can now grab my album of guided meditations. It's called Sourced by Spirit, and it's on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, YouTube Music, and many more. There's 11 guided meditations ranging from 4 minutes through to 10 minutes to help you reset your mind and your body at any time. Okay, now let's get on with the show. Dr Axa Yox has a remarkable background in science, innovation, and personal development. In our thought-provoking conversation, we explore the theme behind her book, Stop Calling It a Comfort Zone, Be Uncomfortable to Be Comfortable to Succeed, along with what it takes to have an innovative mindset and create true change. Be prepared for the lightbulb moment when we realize that a comfort zone leads you to nothing but discomfort. Welcome, Axa, to the Ethical Evolution.
Thank you for hosting me. It's Saturday and I was like, okay, let's make some revolution.
Yeah, let's do that. Now, you're joining us from Miami. For those people who don't know who you are and what you do, can you go ahead and tell us?
Yes. So I am a former scientist. I was in science for over 15 years. I was quite successful. I did my master's in physiology. I did another master's in biotechnology. Then I did my PhD in microbiology with the focus on genetics. I won the first prize award, multiple high-ranked scholarships. I did 12 inventions. I was nominated as a person of extraordinary ability. I really achieved a lot. And then I decided that I was ready kind of for the real life, so-called real life, because I have 12 inventions. I should be not that bad. And I failed miserably. I failed so bad. Before I was used just to send the letter request for like the project, then winning the scholarship, just like snapping the fingers. And then in 1 year, I was failing so many times, I couldn't count. I would just literally send the message, adding at the end, I know that your reply is going to be no, but can you just send the message back saying no, and if it is possible, why? Because I wanted to also understand what I was doing wrong. If you do something wrong in science, then you have to correct. Otherwise, your experiments will not work out. So I know that it's not the other person. It's something that you do wrong. But I was doing everything for the first time. Business was completely new topic for me. And I needed some advice. I needed some feedback. So yes, that's how I kind of started. Then I failed so many times. Then I decided, okay, it's time to do something else. So I published the book. I started to podcast. And now everything is kind of getting back on the track. And I feel more, it's not the point of the confidence, but still when you do the transition from where you already was established to completely new field, like from science, biology, microbiology, genetics, and then business, it's very different. Why? Because in science, there is no failing. It's literally, there is no failing. Even if you try the experiments and everything came back negative, you just document that this didn't work. This is completely non-acceptable in business. Business is a game of numbers. You either failed or you succeeded. I was not used to that. For me, everything was you try and see how it works. And now everyone was just rejecting. And I was like, well, what's happening? Why people don't value the knowledge and everything? But then you realize it's not that they don't value, it's just only different numbers, a different game, the game of the numbers. And if you just follow, let's say, knowledge, you will fail. Business people knew that. I didn't. That's kind of the conflict that I was going through. And now, because I'm getting more and more knowledge in business and I see very different picture at the moment. What does it mean to be successful in business? How harsh it is to be and to compete. So yeah, now I look back and I'm even so thankful to everyone who rejected, because I learned everything they were telling from the very beginning, but I couldn't see, it's not like I couldn't see the value. I couldn't see the meaning. Let's put it, I couldn't see even the meaning. I was like, it makes no sense for me. Now everything came back one by one, like a complete puzzle with all the pictures I assembled. And at the moment, I'm like, oh, that's what they meant.
And that's it. That having that resilience when you keep getting no, I think is what actually helps you succeed, isn't it? Because, you know, if you could easily just go, oh, look, I'm no good at this, let's just quit. But when you do that, you're not actually going to grow. You're not actually going to get to where you want to go. How did you keep on going through the no's?
It's very interesting, but every time when, let's say, I had the product and people would ask me how you are going to bring it on the market, I would always answer, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know that I will. That was my answer. And I literally didn't have any clue how to do the thing. Nothing. But that was my answer. I don't know how. I have no idea. But I will figure it out. That was my attitude. Okay, you don't know, but you didn't go to the school knowing everything. You started from zero, literally zero. You didn't even know how to write the letters. Now I wrote the book. So you learn. So success starts, last time I heard this and I was like, this is brilliant. Success starts where other people stop. So your success starts when other people, because you fail when you stop. That's the failure. I believe whenever you flip how you see the failure, that's when your life changes. If you see the failure, I tried, it didn't work out as a failure, you'll lose the game. If you see the failure, I was not ready for that, and that's normal. If you take the child from the first grade and you put them for the exam for the university, they will fail. Did they fail life? No, they didn't. They were not ready for that. So you fail only if you are not ready for that particular step. But then you just start to realize, okay, I failed because I didn't know this or because of this. You just learn and you continue. Once you learn, you are like, oh, okay, yeah, makes sense. I didn't know that. Now I do.
Yeah.
Let's continue. Life goes on. It's never late. That's the best thing, just to as the advice, as the message. It's never late. Look at me. I quit very successful career in science because I didn't feel myself anymore there. I was like, I want to try something else. I thought that I was ready. I wasn't back then, but now I am.
So tell us about the inventions that you came up with.
So one of the inventions is actually to remove the nutrients from water, because I worked all the time with the water quality. So it's kind of the biofilter. You place it inside mostly we will go with the fish ponds and the home aquarium. So you place the biofilter inside. It just removes the nutrients, and then you replace the cartridge. That's what I came up with. It will take a little bit longer to bring it on the market, and this is something that I learned. I will come to this a little bit later. So another one is completely new diet for the seafood grown in the fish ponds. Another, I actually kind of created new type of the bag. Then another was the shoe tool. I know it's such a diverse thing, but I have every time when I play or I work with something, I always look at what's missing and what is possible to create. That's how you come to particular inventions, and you see that, okay, this didn't exist. Then I was working with algae and I saw something completely new. I went to my host and I was like, I think this is something blah, 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 blah. So he was like, it's not possible. Just check the literature. I bet somebody already published it. I checked the literature, it's not published. I checked it, I proved it, because this is how you work in science. So I proved it and I showed, and he was thrilled, and he was like, oh, okay, that's very interesting, because it helps to save so much electricity. Once you go for the production, it's not science. Whatever comes to saving, then it's perfect. And back to what I started. Every time when I would apply with the invention or the product to raise the capital, and the investors were not interested. They were like, give me the business plan. They would look for the business plan, and there is a potential to make some, let's say, some millions. And they were not interested. And I was like, it's possible to make millions. Now I understand, because every single investor, they are looking for multi-millions, multi-hundred millions. So millions is nothing to interest them. It's for millions. For the investor who is investing, yes, millions. Millions? Seriously? And yeah, so every single step is to learn the game of the numbers. You are not used in science. You are focused on completely different perspective. I don't want to call it value, because that's a wrong thing to say. So the perspective, the focus, how you see the innovation is very different as the business people see. I even isolated the bacteria from water, which was not only described for the first time in the world. So it's a new species of bacteria. It is described by now, the only one in the world.
Wow.
I isolated back in 2006. By now, there is no second in the entire world. And the first time when I shared this with the business person, the first question was, can we sell it? And I was like, you don't get what's the sign. But once you transition, you are like, oh my goodness. Oh, that's what, because we speak different language. We speak the language of innovations, the science, what's interesting, because you realize that there is no limit for the nature and how incredible the nature can be. Even when you check the microscope and you see the shapes, the colors, it's amazing. There is nothing, and most of the shapes and the colors are actually taken from the nature. And then you come directly, you land in the world of business, only the numbers, and you are like, where are the colors? Where is the shape? But step by step, you just change. You see that that's not very bad, because somehow you create the space for people to earn money, to support their families. You gain more freedom to help the same nature. If you only work in science and you cannot help as cleaning or planting the trees instead of like what's happened, just to replace, because there are so many trees and the forest is going like there is a horrible fires and blah, blah, so everything, or even cleaning the ocean. You can be in science, it's unbelievable, but you can do something else. You can create the financial freedom and then invest in cleaning the nature, or helping the wildlife, because the ocean really needs help. Like every time when I go to the beach and I clean the beach, at least my surrounding, I was trying even to clean the beach. And then the first was like, you don't have the permission. And I was like, I need the permission to clean the beach? Serious.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's the difference how I see the world. It's cleaning, it's helping the nature, because the nature needs our help. But then the business comes in and then you violate the law, and here is different world. You have to play this game. And then I was like, okay, let's combine. I have passion to nature. I don't like anything more than the nature, so I want to give it back, because this is my like the fundament. This is where I gained my knowledge from. Let's make it here, because this is where the money are, and then invest back in nature.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Now, I'm interested to find out from you, based on your experience, what would you say is the key to having an innovative mindset?
I actually don't know, because my dad was innovator as well to his core, and he even created the new equipment which helped to restart the function of the nuclear power station back in my home country.
Wow.
And by now, since 1997, back then, because we had a very strong earthquake, so they stopped the function of the station. And because of the Chernobyl, we didn't have the protection in our country as well. So the International Committee for the Safety, they were not allowing for the station to start working. And my dad created the equipment, which by now is the base for the safety for the entire station.
Wow.
And that's why they allowed the station to work. So I believe maybe I really inherited the mindset from him, like the way to think, or maybe because I saw since I was a child that he was creating all the time something new. Even my niece at the moment, every time when she hears that I created something, my mom all the time, she tells she's trying to do something and she just put together and she's like, I also want to invent. When you see something at home, the upbringing is very important. That's how you grow up. So yeah, I believe that comes from my dad. And just I was trying to see also what's possible to be done, because this is how you all stand out. When you apply for the scholarships, you realize that you have to stand out. There are millions who applies. It's even the other way around with the business. So if there is more option for the investment and you can fail, and it's not good, but still fine. In science, it's completely different. You compete with millions. And then being the only one to win the scholarship, it made you to think differently. You have to realize, because even when you write the project, it has to be not only innovative, it should catch the eye, it should present the value to stand out of the millions. So everything was bringing step by step, just simply to prepare kind of the ground for me, and then to become innovator. Maybe, I don't know. It just happened.
I think, you're onto something there because I like to think I've got an innovative mindset too because my dad actually worked for many years as a mechanic and, is just used to fixing things, looking at them, pulling them apart, putting them back together and looking at, how things work. And he's, I guess, taught me that growing up that, you can fix things if you know how they work. And that's really the basis of it, isn't it?
That's so true. Yeah, I believe that's why the topic, whenever you are into innovations, it completely changes how you see the world because you see the world what else can be done, what else can be done from the different angle. And once you flip the angle, this is how your mind works. It just works differently and you cannot explain why. It just takes you 10 minutes. Like last day we went to the beach with the dog. I saw the swimming vest and I was like, okay, this is this doesn't exist. If we just flip and you just come up and you come home and you start creating the prototype. That's all I remember. It takes you seconds and you are like, okay, I need really to stop that.
But it's funny sometimes. I also think like, why hasn't somebody else done this before? Like you think of an idea and you bring it to life and then you kind of like, why hasn't somebody else done this? Like, am I the only one? Why?
I like that. I like that because I keep asking myself as well, am I the only one? But once you start to create the product and once you start to write the business plan and then you see those numbers, as I said, in the very beginning, you don't realize that. You see it like multiple millions and you are excited. But 1, 2, 3, I believe after the fourth product, when I see already that the potential is only millions, I know that you cannot raise the money. It's impossible. No investor is interested in that. It could be harder for you to even bring the product on the market. And the chances are nearly 95% that you will fail versus to do the opposite. That's why every time when I create or I think about something new, I don't ask any longer why it doesn't exist. I go with the already numbers game. Does it make sense? The efficiency, does it make sense to even make the product? Because making the prototype is very exhausting. And once you make the prototype and then mostly you fall in love with the first product because it's your first product, and then the second and the third and the fourth, and then you are like, okay, I need to stop that. You stop it. You don't change your mindset, but still your attitude to the new product completely, it's more neutral. You don't attach yourself. But that's the key to the success, because every time when you talk to investors, that's the first thing that they say: never fall in love with the product. You will fail the business if you fall in love, because sometimes you can present the product to your customers and if they don't like it, you have to change it. But if you are in love with your product, you will fail, because you create the product not for yourself to love your product. You obviously love your product. That's why you created it. But if the customer don't want the product, you fail it. So you can never fall in love with your product. And those are the tiny secrets that you learn step by step once you go and once you communicate. So more you communicate, more you learn, especially from advanced people, from people who failed. So those are people to give you the lessons. Because if you never failed, though I believe it's impossible, but more the person failed, more lessons the person has to teach. Even if the lesson is not to be not to be applied, but sometimes not to do the thing raises your productivity more. So you don't raise your productivity by doing the right things. You raise your productivity by eliminating doing the wrong things, because we do so many wrong things. If I would know everything that I know at the moment about even the production, about the making the prototype. Before making the prototype, everything. Like if I would know, I would completely do the opposite, everything that the investors were telling. But I was so in so-called love with the product. I was like, if I like the product, people will like, and blah, blah, blah. So everything the same that every founder of the company feels for. Because we fell in love with it. We fall in love with the product, and then we fail it. Because if the customer doesn't like, you don't have the business.
Yeah. And it makes me think about your passion for solutions to problems. What would you say is your mission, and how are you working towards it?
Oh, that's a great question. Because at the moment, I see myself in public speaking, and the resilience and the hardship that I went through, because I really went through very dark times. I believe my temper and the strong personality helped me. And I had many times that I could so easily give up, and not give up on moving on. I mean, serious give up. And when before even publishing the book, I didn't want to put it out because it's kind of very personal story. But I realized that the only way that I survived those dark times is because I heard the stories of other people, and they kept me moving. Because every time when you hear how hard somebody else went through, what was happening in their life, and you compare, though comparing is not very advisable thing to do, but sometimes if you don't compare, and if you don't realize that it could have been worse, you can simply think that yours is the worst in the world and give up. So I was thinking that's my moral obligation, because I came out of the tunnel because of the stories of other people. And they were not related directly to what I was going through. But I have a strong personality. What if somebody who is going through what I was going through doesn't have it? What if my book can save one life? And if it saves one life, then my mission is done. Because that's the purpose of the book, to help and to show that you are not alone. And it's not like I did, you can do. No, that's a bit very personal story. And even in the book I describe, it's not the book about I did, you can do as well. Because it's not like I failed, do you want to try as well? You don't brag about failing. It's not all the time bragging about, oh, I failed, do you want to try as well? No, it's more warning. This is the dead end. Don't go there. Don't do that. I did, I failed, I'm warning you. So if you have the option, if there is still time, correct it. Don't do that. Don't do, because the regrets are really the hardest emotions in the world. Regrets are really, they are really very strong, and they will stay with you for the rest of your life. And there is nothing you can do about that. So it's more of the warning book, like this, what can happen, don't do it. And yeah, it's more of to tell to the world you are not alone. Even if you didn't hear my story personally, because it's not on the internet, I don't talk about the story that much. I really want only who are interested, who are going through the hardship, to read the book. Don't give up. You are not the only one. It's hard. I know. I feel it. I feel it every single day. But I overcame. And there is a still light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep going, because there are so many people who depend on you. And maybe you will help somebody else, because somebody would listen to your voice, not my voice.
Yeah.
I'm not everybody. It's like I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I perfectly know. So what if you are somebody's cup of tea and they need your cup of tea? Don't share. Share, even if it is not very confident, if it is about failing, if it is very, sometimes can be tragic story, share it. If you can share it, maybe not in the book, but share with people, because you can save lives.
Yeah, and I so resonate with that, with you, Axa. I often tell the story of my very first podcast that I did. I talk about my story, and I got to the end of it and I was like, why am I telling everybody about my failures? Like, and I sat in that for a minute and I was like, the message that I got was, it's not about the fall, it's about getting back up again. And that has been the key message from day one. And it seems like that's the same thing for you as well. And the thing is that we have power in our story. The more we tell it, the easier it is to tell, and the more we heal through sharing that story. But if one other person hears it and they're like, oh, I'm going to be okay because they've done it, I can do it too. So there's so much power in sharing our story, whether it's to one people or millions. There's so much power in that. So your book, stop calling it a comfort zone. I know you've got it sitting there behind you. Tell us about what the book is about. I mean, obviously, comfort zone. Tell us more.
It's kind of what we don't realize, and how our subconscious can play the tricks with us, because we live most of our time subconsciously. And it is, from one perspective, it's more like the saving coping mechanism that the nature created. Otherwise, it's impossible for humans to survive. But somehow we live on that autopilot when we shouldn't. So that's the main message in the book. Especially when I heard for the first time the term comfort zone. When I was in science, there is no one talks about comfort zone. You don't need the motivation. You are already motivated with what you do, because there is no way to become a scientist if you are not in love with science.
Yeah.
Because the pay is not very good. You really need to read a lot, analyze, do the experiments, publish the papers. It's a lot of work. If you are not passionate about that, you will not survive in science. So being in science and completely transforming what you learn in real life, and then, because I also was going through the hardship, the motivation, because I needed to let the past go. I couldn't. I was so stuck in my, I don't even know, because it was not comfort zone. It was the darkest times in my life. But every time when I would go for the motivation, because that the only thing that kept me, I would listen, and there was that phrase, let it go, let it go. And I was like, please stop telling that phrase. It would so much piss me off, even that phrase, because every time I would even like start to argue with them, with the person who is on the internet. By the way, they cannot even hear. You don't know what I need to let go. You don't know everybody's past, how you can even advise that. So I came to the point that I couldn't even listen to such videos. Like, every time when I would hear, but I knew that I need to let the past go. And I start to analyze, okay, why I cannot let it go. And more I dived into the research for the last 3.5 years. I did very deep research because I needed to help myself first. So it took me 3.5 years to let the past go. But when I understood what I need to let go, it took me 1 second. 1 second. Because I knew what I was letting go.
Yeah.
But before, I was like, what does it mean, let it go? it's so generic, it's so blur, you don't know. Either you have to completely let it go, but if you are not my type of personality, if I don't analyze and if I don't understand, it will never work out for me. So I have very analytical way of thinking. That's why I need to analyze what I need to let go. And it kept me going. So, and I came to the first time when I heard the comfort zone, I was like, how is it even possible to call something where you are unhappy, unhealthy, and unfulfilled to be a comfort zone? What is the signal that you send to your brain that you are comfortable to be unhappy? You are comfortable to be unhealthy and unfulfilled? Why would you even quit your comfort zone? Because you create this conflict in your brain between your subconscious and conscious mind. And your subconscious tells it's comfort zone. Your conscious tells it's I'm not happy, but your subconscious is the dominating part. You live in your subconscious, in your limbic brain. That's why the link that exists between the limbic and the cortex, they are in conflict, but you don't spend enough time in your conscious mind to analyze that. And I started to completely flip how I see the comfort zone and how I see being uncomfortable.
I love
And
it.
once I
love
flip that,
Yeah.
because if you convince yourself that this is my comfort zone,
Yeah.
I'm unhappy, unhealthy, unfulfilled, whatever, but I'm comfortable, you send this message to your brain. Your brain assess that you are comfortable to be unhappy. It will never quit your comfort zone. You will start to sabotage. That's why we go to motivational seminar, we learn the technique, we come home, and we are 100% sure this time everything will change. But we slide right back in our comfort zone because in your brain, you have that command. This is my comfort zone. And I am already unhappy. So if we think that our brain thinks that, okay, I'm unhappy here, it's my comfort zone, I need just only a little bit uncomfortable, and then there is a progress. Your brain doesn't read that way. Your brain reads, if this is uncomfortable, if this I'm here unhappy and it's already comfort zone, being uncomfortable, it's higher level because your brain analyzes exactly how it reads the words. So if you name something where you are unhappy to be comfort zone and you tell your brain you need now to be uncomfortable, your brain would be I'm not doing that.
Exactly.
You need to flip.
Yeah.
And you need to make your comfort zone so uncomfortable that you will not question, you will not want to live there. It's not that you need to be uncomfortable, it's you don't want to be uncomfortable.
I love that you've flipped the switch on that. And really it's that whole mindset shift, isn't it? Because what we see as our comfort zone, so it might be not doing the work, not putting in the effort, like just chilling. That is where we lead ourselves to discomfort, isn't it? By not doing the work and not actually doing the things that we need to be happy and to be healthy and to be fulfilled. We think that's comfort when it's actually going to lead us to a place of discomfort if we sit there long enough.
Yes, because you have that command, you linked. So that's kind of the issue that exists, and people need to understand. If you have the link to particular, because we normally think that, okay, if I break one link, I rewired my brain. No. Everything, the brain is the net. So if you have the link to this point, with several, let's say 10, I don't know, because you might have 100, 1 million, one person could have million links to the comfort zone. One person can have one link, let's say, to eat the sweets. It depends what is the link to your comfort zone. So if your comfort zone has million links, you have to break all the million links directly connected to your comfort zone. Plus, you have to break all the surrounding, at least 3 levels, 3 folds links, like the further from your comfort zone. And only then you have the option to change. Because the links in our brain, that's the difference. So the links, so-called links, the biochemistry exists in our limbic unconscious brain, where we live 98% of the time. You cannot live 98% of the time, produce this biochemistry, and then be surprised. If you start to produce the biochemistry doesn't stop in middle and then changes. No, the biochemistry will completely synthesize. So you start that, this is my comfort zone. You produce the biochemistry and then you decide, no, now I change. Your biochemistry doesn't stop the production. It still will be produced till the end. But if you start in between to produce some new biochemistry, you have the chance to balance. And once you start to flip the balance, this is when the things change. Because once you enter your comfort zone, your biochemistry will be synthesized. You cannot stop it. You need to start to synthesize and dilute what already exists in your subconscious mind, which start to produce your biochemistry. And through the dilution, you replace it. Because people go to the seminar and they think that, wow, I start tomorrow and everything is changing. But they forget that they dilute the ocean with one drop. You cannot dilute the complete ocean or to change the complete content or the concentration or the ingredients in the entire ocean with one drop. You have to add that one drop to replace what exists in your ocean. If you want to add the courage to replace the fear, you have to add the courage. While you add the courage, your fear will be balanced. And then you will come to the point to have both of them at the same level. And then even one tiny drop, depending where you add fear or courage, this is where the Libra goes. This is the where the everything flips. People who go for the risk, they are fearful. But that's when you balance your biochemistry, when you nullify your biochemistry, whatever you add, this is where it cranes. Like this is where it goes. Sometimes you can be really fearful, but it doesn't mean that you slide back to your comfort zone because you are at the like the nullified level, and whatever you add, this is what you will receive at the end. Just nullify. Don't think that you went to one seminar, you have this one drop, everything flips. No, you cannot dilute the ocean with one drop of courage. It's impossible. You have to multiply that courage so much to balance it. And then once you have it balanced, keep adding. Where you add, this is what you will have.
I love that. It reminds me of those demonstrations that you see where someone's got a glass of dirty water and they keep adding the clean water, and it's not until they put enough of it in that they flush the dirt out. And it's a continual thing that you have to keep doing to balance the environment, right? Which is an appropriate kind of example given your background in science. So
I like that.
It's
and
the same
I want
thing, right?
to stop here. I want to stop here because I really love that video. And there is one extremely huge point which is overlooked. Because we normally think that we have the glass of whatever, and we start to pure water, and then it just replaces. But we forget that we don't add only pure water. So per day you have, so that video, I actually did the opposite video, and it's amazing. So to have water replace whatever is in your glass is if you pour only water. But if you pour together with the water, so imagine you have two glasses, one pure water, one whatever, one fear, one courage.
Yep.
And if you pour only courage, you will become courageful. If you pour the fear, you will have the fear. But if you pour both of them, then whatever goes faster, this is what your cup will be full of. This is what we forget during the day. We always think that if I do something, it will change. No, it has to be consistent, not only pouring the water, but removing this. Otherwise, your glass will never get clean. Never. It will get all the time mix. Mix. And then you have, when you are here at the nullified balance, if you start feeding your fear, it will crank towards fear. If you add courage, you will become courage. That's the difference. When first of all, you have to nullify. It's already a lot of work. And even when you nullify, it's not like, oh, I can start in the morning, my life changes. No. If you have do the same experiment, the opposite. Take a glass of water and start pouring something else. It will completely replace the water. That's what people are missing. They always think, oh, I added something. I watched the video. I'm full of... and then they slide back to... Why it happened? Why? This is why. Because it's not only what you add, it's what you remove. If something doesn't serve you, you have to remove. You cannot just add something good and think that it will happen itself. No, you have to remove the temptation. If you need to go for the gym, you cannot take the videos, watch the videos and be like, okay, I need to go to the gym. No, you have to go to the gym. Together with going to the gym, you have to remove the sweets. You have to remove what is not healthy as a diet. You cannot keep eating unhealthy, go to gym and think everything is fixed. No. You will have the results, which are the results of going to the gym, but eating unhealthy. It's not that bad, but it's not as good as if you also eat healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you have to basically double down on what's good for you, basically.
Yes.
Based on the rewiring that you've done on what we just talked about, what would you say is happiness for you?
Oh my goodness. For me, happiness, that's freedom, and freedom not to do what you want, but not to do what you don't want. Because we forget that even if you are free to do what you want, there are still things that you have to do, but you don't want. And that's when the real freedom comes.
Yeah, being able to say no. Yeah.
You are the person to decide and to say no to the major things which make you unhappy. If you have that, not to say yes to something which makes you happy, but to be able to say no, which robs your happiness.
Yeah, I love that. Now, Axa, I could talk about this stuff all day. If people are loving the conversation that we're having and they want to find out more and get in touch with you, where can they go?
They can find me on LinkedIn and also Facebook, and my book is on Amazon. If you are stuck and you are a perfect procrastinator, don't think that you are the only one. There are so many people. Just get the book, learn, because I describe the innovative technique, how I actually flip what is comfort and what is uncomfort for me. And it will absolutely help them as well to change and how to actually rewire how we associate the different things in our brain and then move on.
I love it. I have had several light bulb moments with you today, so thank you so much for that. You've made me really see my discomfort zone, I'm going to call it. But I've got a last big question for you. What's the change you'd like to see in the world, and how can we bring it to life?
I think we need more. I've never said that, and I don't know if people are not going to hate me for this, but our biggest problem in the world, and I will explain, is the forgiveness.
How so?
Because forgiveness teaches people to be mean to you, and somehow you have to forgive them. So forgiveness, the true forgiveness, sometimes could be harmful because you don't teach the person that they cannot treat you bad. So forgiveness has to have the limit, and the forgiveness in the world, forgiveness for what's going wrong, and everybody just keep silent or forgiving or anything. So forgiveness, actually, when they say forgiveness will save the world, I always flip it. Forgiveness kills the world, because forgiveness is not used as it's supposed to be. Forgiveness is completely different thing, opposed to how we see it or how we apply it. Yes, I think using the forgiveness, applying it the way it's supposed to be, that's what I want to see in the world.
And you're right, there's so much going on in our world where we just turn a blind eye and we don't speak up, we don't say anything, we don't try to change it. And you're 100% right. Like, that's not forgiveness. That's just being ignorant and blind.
Exactly. Yes, that's the perfect word to use. I didn't want to say ignorance, because normally people see it completely different, and they keep telling you that even with the ignorance, you have to be forgive everything. And I'm like, no, that's forgiveness. It's so different term, and we change its meaning and we apply it every time for your own peace. Okay, yes, I get everything, but what's behind what I say is, when you forgive and the person knows that you will forgive, you don't teach the person the lesson.
Yeah.
So business taught me extremely good lessons. There is no forgiveness because you feel. So the same unforgiveness has to be flipped and applied the right way. And we need to forget what is unconditional love. I don't want to go there, otherwise we will say another 1 hour. But let's don't flip the meaning of the words and apply it as we benefit in that particular moment. And then it just only rotates and it keeps changing the meaning. Forgiveness is completely different thing, and we apply it wrong way, and we teach people that they can treat the other person and the other and the other, and we seed ignorance, and we seed we seed the anger, we seed the hatred, we seed every negativity as a backside of forgiveness.
Fascinating. Absolutely love it. Axa, you have been a breath of fresh air and have given me so many insights today. Thank you so much for being a part of the Ethical Evolution.
Thanks for inviting, and I enjoy it very much because when it goes with the flow, that's the best.
Thanks for listening to the Ethical Evolution podcast. If you're ready to be the change and would love to work with me on finding your voice through spiritual coaching or creating your own podcast with impact, visit ethicalchangeagency.com. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's growing every day with great content and highlights you may not have heard on the podcast. In addition, please subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple, and why not leave a 5-star review? If you're not following me on social media, you can find me at Ethical Change Agency on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube, and at DJ Bindi on TikTok and Instagram.
For those of you who dream of a world where music and podcasts live together in perfect harmony, now for the first time, Electricast gives you a magical compilation, Pod Till You Drop, Volume 1, where we give you the best in tunes and the best in podcasts. Feast your ears and hear the culture. Available now wherever you listen to music.
Hi, I'm Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks. What did you do on your last Saturday night?
Did you hear something?
Toilet paper.
There's none. Nada. The reserves have gone dry. People are hoarding it. I should have done that.
They're all out of hand sanitizer at my Target.
Mark, when did you last watch the news?
We are getting reports of forced quarantines in China, Japan, and now Italy.
You're cutting onions in half and putting them around your apartment.
Yes, exactly. It kills the COVID.
Excuse me?
Let's go. Let's go. Get in.
Vamos, rápido.
Have you ever driven one of these?
Never.
I'll drive, ladies.
I've got the keys.
Excuse me, I'm lost. I'm looking for my wife. I got turned around.
Join me, Eric Roberts, Jennifer Elise Cox, and Ed Asner for The Last Saturday Night, an Electricast podcast. You'll love it. Electricast. Electricast.